Wow, what a beautiful day. This is the view from my office, and I thought I would share it with you. Look at that. And my beautiful furry friend Momo soaking up a bit of sunshine. We went to the beach this morning and just such a beautiful day. Anyway, I've just been reflecting on the last 5 months. 5 months ago today, I didn't even know about the abundance frequency mirror. It was on the 4th of July, 2025, that I had this inspiration to do this scan with my quantum frequency lab. And what emerged was the beginning of what is now the abundance frequency mirror. And as I ran that scan and the frequencies revealed what had been happening in my body, in my energy field, physically, emotionally, mentally, energetically, archetypally, and what emerged over the next few months is nothing short of miraculous. And the most amazing thing for me has been that it was a few weeks after I had started with this, and it's literally these frequencies help to collapse your timelines. And I like to think of that as, when you've had certain issues that just keep on repeating themselves in your life, no matter what you've done, it just doesn't seem to shift or budge. And this could be something that's in relationships, or that's in money, or in business, or creative flow, or your health, wherever area it may be playing out in. And no matter what you do, you can't seem to really shift this. And what I found is that by running these frequencies through what I now call the abundance frequency mirror, these timelines where certain roles were played that you agree to, I think of it like, playing the script of your life, and the lead characters in there have these specific roles that come with all these rules. These are the identities. And those identities were created to help you survive in what I call the scarcity matrix. Now, the scarcity matrix is the operating system that we've all come into this planet with, unless you're just born. And this operating system runs on a few rules that require you to hustle, to prove your worth, to earn your rewards, and so forth. And one of the key archetypes, as in the key roles that is in that script that's been alive and well on the planet for many, is the archetype of the one who carries it all and who has to do it alone. What started to happen is, as I journeyed through my own abundance frequency mirror, it's literally like I had no idea where this was going. I was literally laying the tracks as I was walking the path. And one of my friends came over and heard me talk about this right in the beginning and said, I want that. I want to book in. I want that. And I said, well, but I don't even know what it's called yet. I don't even know what's going to be included. I don't know what's going to come out of this. I'm just sharing my experience. She goes, I don't care. I want it. So, okay. She booked in. This happened on the Friday. She booked in for the Monday. So on the Saturday morning, I sat down to go, okay, let me get the download as to how to describe this. That's when the name Abundance Frequency Mirror emerged. And when I realized that this would involve, this was how it started, doing one of the scans, which works with your DNA. So we take a DNA sample. In this case, I like to work with the nails. They are just the most stable. So doing a scan, and then I would offer 2 weeks of frequency support, which basically, when you run the scan, it would bring up into awareness anything that your body, your field was ready to clear and release and to upgrade and bring back into coherence. And so over the following 2 weeks, I would run these frequency protocols. Some I had developed over the weeks before to support the nervous system, and also with the lymphatic system to help drain all the emotional excess and so forth. And then obviously customized, well, maybe not obviously, but anyway, customized frequencies based on the individual scan. And so I offered that, and it was $770 for 2 weeks. Now, what evolved over the coming months was that everybody who said yes to the abundance frequency mirror without really fully cognitively understanding why, they just knew, yes, this is what I've been waiting for. Everybody extended, and after a while, I realized that this was really a 3-month journey. And so what I've witnessed over the last few months of people traveling through their 3-month journey themselves, it collapses the timelines, which basically, when you have an identity, for example, the one that carries it all, the one who carries it all and believes that you have to carry it all and do it all yourself, do it all alone, will find it very difficult to receive support. If you have experienced receiving support, then there may have been betrayal, there would have been disappointment. It's the one who believes that if you love somebody, then you give, you overgive. If you expand, then it's going to be draining you. If you have to prove that you're good enough. All those kind of things, and it's incredibly exhausting. And it makes it really, really, really difficult to allow yourself to truly be you, because part of that archetypal identity has got some sub-characters, shall we say, like the perfectionist, the people pleaser, the good girl, the good guy, the one who stays quiet, the peacekeeper, you name it, all these different roles, right? When those roles are still running their script under the surface, your nervous system is loyal to those roles because those roles, those identities, helped you survive. And when you only address nervous system regulation, which is incredibly powerful, I love all the tools for nervous system regulation, but if you do not also update your identities and allow yourself to let all the unspoken, a lot of the rules that you may not be aware of, that say, for example, that rest is lazy, or receiving is dangerous, or there is a price to pay, joy is not safe, all of that stuff. If you're not aware of these rules that are running under the surface, then life will keep on presenting you with evidence that this is your operating system's instructions. So anyway, what started happening with the abundance frequency mirror is that these timelines that will drag on and on and on and on, and ad infinitum, until the instruction code is cleared, the core code. And this is what happened with the abundance frequency mirror. So of course I found it through my own experience first and foremost, that these identities started to dissolve. It's like an ancestral programming, agreements that were made long time ago, passed down through the lineage, keeping a cap on what was safe for me or what I was allowed to receive and have. So I'd always come up against this upper limit of how much joy, how much ease, how much money, how much love was allowed or was safe. It was wild. And even though cognitively in my mind, I was aware of the stuff, I knew how it worked, it wasn't until I started to experience the abundance frequency mirror, and the frequencies working in the background, nothing you have to do, it's just doing its work, that all this stuff started to release and let go. And this would come with periods of feeling incredible exhaustion. And the most recent one for me was over the last 6 weeks or so, that archetype of the one who carries it all really started to come to the surface, to be released. And what started happening was, previously, my mind, if I was tired, my mind could override my body, so I would just push through and be one of those things like, let me just quickly finish this one thing. Let me just push through and do this thing, then it's done, because part of this programming that runs under the surface is that done is safe. And so this is one of the rules in this scarcity matrix, that you've just got to keep doing, because if you do, then you get it done, and done is safe. But of course it's never done. So you never feel completely safe to relax. And so this runs really deep. I talk about that in one of the podcast episodes in Abundance Alchemy. Anyway, if you haven't listened to any of that, you can follow the journey there. It's been quite a ride. Anyway, so what started happening is that this archetype of the one who carries it all started to come undone and literally being purged from my body. It's like the scaffolding had come down and I could no longer override. It's like I had like a backlog of 8 abundance frequency mirrors, the reports to write. And normally I would sit down when the flow switched on and they would just come out of me. But this time it's like, oh my God, I could not open my laptop. It's like my laptop had a repulsive field. I'd get close to it to sit down to do work off my to-do list. And it's like I would get close to the laptop and I just get so tired that I literally could not keep my eyes open. I was like, what the fuck, right? Anyway, I realized, because what it brought up was underneath were stories that, I'm going to be letting people down and I should have all of this done within 72 hours. I can't keep people waiting a week. Oh, there was so many stories going that if I take this long to get this done, what are they going to think of me? Oh my God, it's not professional. Oh, the list went on and on. I mean, it's insane how those little rules run in the background. But I started noticing them. And so instead of pushing through, which I couldn't do anymore anyway, I would lay down on my far infrared mat and just let myself have a half hour, an hour of receiving that deep far infrared, which is like being in an infrared sauna, but on a mat version. So good. I would do 1 minute of a Kundalini move, and I call them like my little quantum flow moves. 1 minute of one of my favorite ones is we'll talk about that another time. Anyway, I would have lots of these different poses that normally you do like for 10, 20, 30 minutes. And I was like, no, I just want to have 1 minute. And it's incredible what 1 minute of moving your body with intention can do. And it was like, oh my God, total reset. I would allow myself to have extra support with kinesiology sessions, which while I've been moving through my abundance frequency mirror, when I now go and have kinesiology sessions, or I go to my osteopath or whatever it is that I'm receiving support with, they act like amplifiers and help me integrate and expand even faster. It's really amazing. So, and that happens once the nervous system starts to feel safe, and a lot of these rules that were simply never true are actually deleted from your database, and you start allowing yourself to feel safe with more ease, with more flow. And the words that came from me were effortless and spaciousness. If it's not effortless, I'm not doing it. If something comes to my path and it's an invitation and I don't feel spaciousness, in other words, I start feeling pressured, then I know that that's a no for me. But getting that in the mind with all those old rules that, you can't just say no to whatever and you have to say yes to fill in the blank. When the residue of that was coming undone, it's literally like the scaffolding was still the main, a lot of this stuff had already cleared from my body and field. And then I went through the physical purge where literally for 2 days, I was so incredibly tired. And I allowed myself to just sleep. I would sleep a couple of hours in the afternoon, go to bed early, sleep, have my time on my far infrared mat, obviously receive my frequency support, drink electrolytes, have my trace minerals and the stuff that was really nurturing for my body. And when I woke up on the Wednesday morning, this was, I think, last week or the week before, all of a sudden, I was like, oh my God, I felt like my operating system had been switched out. It felt like being in energetic surgery. And so while in recovery, obviously, I'm not going to be hosting a dinner party when I'm in recovery from surgery. So same energetically, I realized, I felt amazing rebooted. I knew the new operating system had fully been installed, and this is the operating system of infinite abundance. This is the operating system of the quantum queen. This is where the archetype of the prostitute had been completely cleared and released from my body and field, and it was quite an intense process. And as that happened, I realized, wow, I'm going to let myself just integrate. And even though I have this amazing clarity, I did sit down and 5 abundance frequency mirrors just flowed out of me effortlessly. That's the key word. And I could have kept going, and I realized, oh no, I'm going to just relax. The next day, 3 more, boom, flowed out of me, effortless, absolutely potent, absolutely amazing. And it was like, wow, this is what life is supposed to feel like. Effortless. And effortless doesn't mean that there's no effort involved. It just means that whatever it is that you're doing truly comes from overflow and not from pushing. Oh my God, right? And we get that mentally, and maybe, you have mantras and that you repeat to yourself that's how you're living. But if your body is not fully on board with that, then you're going to have 2 different versions playing out. So anyway, as this was integrating in my system, in the meantime, I'm observing others moving through their journey, and they are moving through their expansion way faster and with way more ease than my experience had been. And part of that, I realized, was that as the abundance frequency mirror came to me, it's like the blueprint of it was received by my energy field and then my body. And I felt like a pioneer, like in the jungle, with a machete, and I was clearing the path to make space for everybody else to come after me, to make the path smoother. And that's exactly what's been happening, and it's just so fascinating. And one of the most fun things, well, besides hearing people say that, oh my God, they've never felt better, they feel so good to be themselves. Finally, having felt afraid of speaking up, speaking their truth, they're speaking up. They're no longer tolerating stuff that they would have tolerated before, which was not honoring themselves. And it was really driven by people pleasing or perfectionism. That stuff's cleared. And their lives transform in the most amazing ways. It's beautiful to witness. And it happens so fast. Now, I've been in this field of transformation for almost 40 years. Now, I can't believe it myself. It's just flown by. Anyway, I've had incredible results in people's lives, witnessed amazing results in people's lives with everything that I was doing before. I have not experienced anything that allows this transformation to occur so fast and so effortlessly as with what is now coming through me. And it's like, wow, I just love it. So the thing that I am absolutely blown away by is that I suddenly started to have, the mothers were the first ones to come in. Then a few of the mothers asked if their kids could receive the frequencies. And yes, of course. Now, what I've noticed in everyone, no matter the age, the youngest one so far is 12, and the eldest, I don't know, 70s? Yeah, late 70s? No, even in the 80s. Everyone's nervous system, when having the first scan, my own included when I had that first one, their nervous system is on hypervigilant. And when your nervous system is on hypervigilant, you can say affirmations until you're blue in the face. You can do all the yoga, all the meditation, all the, the taking care of yourself, self-care practices in the world. If your nervous system does not feel safe, then it is not going to sustain. And that is frustrating as bleep, bleep, bleep. And trust me, because I've lived that. And I've also now experienced what happens when your nervous system does finally feel safe. And then when you apply any of the modalities that you have used before, they become like 10x or maybe more, like superpowers. I mean, it is wild. So what's been absolutely, makes my heart just so happy to see ancestral clearing taking place when the kids in the family start receiving the frequencies as well, And you see these ancestral patterns that showed up in the mother's report and then show up in the kids' report. But the kids, a couple of weeks of the frequencies and boom, everything moves really, really, really fast. So seeing these patterns cleared, it's like their blueprint is cleared from all the ancestral baggage, all those rules of limitation, and all those misperceptions that were passed down through the generations, and they are left with their own blueprint, pure, to be who they are in the world. And I was like, wow, how amazing that would have been if that had been available for me, for those, my age, my generation, and generations before. And it wasn't, but it is now. And so to be a part of that and to see this generational healing unfolding like this, oh my God, absolutely mind-blowing and so incredible. And anyway, I'm very passionate about this, as you may be able to tell. And what emerged next was that as I got to the end of my 3-month abundance frequency journey, all of a sudden I had a download that, the next part is Radiant You Rebirth. And that is exactly the journey that I have been living over the past few months, and it's still unfolding. So that the blueprint of Radiant You Rebirth has been downloaded in my system. I'm experiencing the full intensity of clearing what it involves, literally laying the tracks as I go. And as others are coming on the ride with me, they are able to experience these transformational shifts with a lot less intensity and a lot faster. How cool is that, right? Anyway, I just wanted to share this because it's such a beautiful time of the year. We just had in the US Thanksgiving. We're coming up to the end of 2025. Can you believe it? We start reflecting on what has life been bringing us? What is life going to bring us? And I look back and go, my God, how my life has transformed in the last 5 months. Absolutely mind-blowing. And witnessing people's lives transformed, issues they've had for their whole life, patterns that have been passed down through the generations, dissolve just like that in such a rapid time. Miracles showing up, because when you are being truly you, and all that's covered up, all the crap that we've taken on, when that is cleared and your beautiful light is free to shine and you feel safe being who you are, then wow, you become super magnetic and life starts lining up everything that matches your frequency. And so old patterns, old identities are finally able to be laid to rest. And anyway, that's been my experience, and that's what I'm witnessing in others. And I am so excited to see where all of this is going and what will be unfolding next. And I've taken a pause from the podcast. I could have made myself record one when I had that reboot moment happen. And then I realized no, because then I'm going to be putting myself under pressure, and I'm not doing that anymore. But this weekend, I'm here, and how inspiring is this view? Oh my God, right? This is where I'm currently house sitting, and I'm going to let the inspiration flow. And if it is ready for the next podcast episode, then you'll be seeing that one soon. And also be getting ready for really getting some fun practices and tips and stuff that I like to implement at the end of the year to really set the tone for what 2026 is going to hold. 2026, that's a 10-year, that's a 1 year, so a year of new beginnings. And it's also, I think it's a fire horse year. Is it a fire horse year? I think so. I have to double check that for sure, but I'm pretty sure. The fire horse, and so that's about real, if the last year we've been in the snake year shedding old identities and the old skins, now we're ready to run with it. And wow, and in order to do that, you have to let go of everything that cannot come with you in this new playing field. If you have been setting intentions for more abundance in whatever area of your life, but you're still running programs or holding on to identities that you have to do it all alone, that you have to carry everything yourself, that it's not safe to be supported, that it's not safe to be you, then you are not a vibrational match to what you're calling in. Now, many of us have known about this conceptually for so long. Yet, as I say, the body is so important to bring on board. And when you have experienced lots of transformational work in your own life, a lot of spiritual work, energetic work, for many of us, I know this was the case for me too. It can be really easy to neglect the physical body because, it's like easy to be flying with the energies and the high vibes, but getting into the physical body when you feel some of the aches and the pains that have been held in there, the grief that may have been unexpressed because it didn't feel safe, that stuff has to move, and we have to take care of our beautiful bodies because that's the vehicle that carries us through life, right? Anyway, preaching to the choir. I know you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, stay tuned. And I've been really curious to hear what your experiences have been over the last few months. And which identities may you be holding on to that are dragging their feet, that are holding you back from being fully you? Where in your life are you not being fully you? And what would it feel like if you felt safe, truly safe, to be you, unapologetically, confidently, effortlessly? All right, from my heart to yours, many joyful blessings. Until the next time. And Momo is giving us an example of how to chill.